Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. I'm Clay, and in this Short Circuits video, we are talking about the Transformers Studio 1986 series version of Hot Rod, the turbo-revving young punk himself. Here he is in the Studio 86 packaging, and we're just going to dive right in. You can see already that the Studio 86 packaging is pretty basic. It is just black. We've got the Transformers the movie logo. We've got my cat in the background yelling at me. Yes, I will let them know about Hot Rod's features. I promise. Thank you. You can see the close-up of Hot Rod and his face. The artwork is okay on this one. It's not the best, it's not terrible, it's not nearly as nice as the artwork that we've seen in the War for Cybertron series, where every piece is just kind of an illustrated masterpiece. But nonetheless, the illustrations are decent. We've got some legal mumbo-jumbo on the bottom. We've got the Transformers the movie emblem on the top. And then we can see the character in his robot mode here and his vehicle mode here. And of course, we have the diorama here that is included in this box. It's a cardboard foldout with an illustration that recreates one of the scenes from Transformers the movie, and even from here it looks like this is the scene inside Unicron when Hot Rod takes the Matrix from Galvatron and turns into Rodimus Prime. So that should be pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take him out of the box and see how that looks. So right away, I'm noticing that that they're really kind of pulling out the stops on Hot Rod here. He comes with 3 different effects pieces. He comes with a matrix. He's got his buzzsaw hand attachment and 2 guns. That's a lot more accessories than I've seen for any of the other Studio 86 series characters, and it already kind of gets me hungry for more here. So I'm going to free him from his bonds and show him in front of the backdrop piece. So here he is in the pose that pretty much every Transformers fan is going to do first. He's opening the Matrix, there's the blast explosions that are coming out, and he is rising to become Rodimus Prime. The backdrop, there's really not a whole lot going on here. I mean, it's not badly done, and it is accurate to the scene, but you know, some of the other backdrops were definitely far more detailed and far more interesting than this one. You know, I wouldn't have mind maybe seeing Unicron tearing himself open to try to get at Rodimus. You know, it's something that you saw in as they were escaping. You know, you could see his finger come through as he was trying to dig for the infection, and he ends up pulling his own leg off to try and get it out. But you know, there is no getting it out once the Matrix is unleashed inside your belly. So yeah, there he is holding the Matrix, and they've got a lot of neat little features here in Hot Rod that I can showcase. Let me just move stuff around. So, of course, we have the Matrix here, and that is one of the many little extras that you get with this set. And Hot Rod himself looks really good. The mold is great. The articulation is very good also. And then he has all those extra bits. So, of course, the first extra bit is the Matrix, which they gave him hinged hands with moving fingers that allow him to grip the Matrix, and that's nice. Another thing that the hands do is they have attachments. So here we've got the little hinge thing here. Let me open the door. There's a door here. There we go. So you can do this, you can flip the hand around, and that reveals a stud that allows you to attach the cutter disc that you see often in the movie, at least a couple times in the movie. And then over here on this hand, of course, we have the moving fingers, but we also have, let's try and get these open here. There we go. So we flip this around, and we have the welding torch that he used to fix Cup in the underwater Quintessa scene. So that's really cool. He's also got a long distance visor. So here, let's flip his head open, and he can put down his little visor thing and then close his head, and now he'll be able to see that the Decepticons have evaded the Autobots' early warning sensors by arriving in the Autobots' own shuttle. Oh no, that's no good. So you see, they're putting all these neat little extra play features in him that are pretty darn cool. He also comes with some blast explosion bits. So you can put those like on his arm blasters. And honestly, for as often as he uses the pipes on his arms as guns, it almost makes it silly for them to even include guns, because his arms are just a walking arsenal of death. Okay, wait, he can repair with this, but I bet that he can probably do a lot of damage with it too. And then he's got the blasters on this arm, and spinning buzzsaw blade, and he's kind of quick-tempered and doesn't always think things through. So he's dangerous. He's a dangerous dude. But you know what? Dangerous dude makes for fun toy, and that's what it's all about. Let me take these things off and put his hands back to normal so that we can just see him in his native form here. We'll flip that around, and there we go. And then we'll open up his head again and flip the visor up out of the way. That works very nicely too. It's you don't even really notice the line in the head where it separates. So they did a beautiful job integrating all of these neat little play features into a relatively small figure. He's very compact, but he's got a lot going on, and he's also a really excellent version of the character seen in the movie. So you can see here that his body proportions are very distinctly cartoon-like. He looks like his cartoon likeness, and he's not buffed up. He's not particularly tall. This is definitively Hot Rod. It is not intended to sort of bridge the gap between Hot Rod and Rodimus. They didn't call him Rodimus. They just called him Hot Rod, and he only turns into a car, not a car that has a camper trailer that allows him to look like a camper. He's just a car. So it's, once again, sticking very, very faithfully to the 1986 movie, which, of course, that's the whole point of the line. He has very good articulation, even though the arms look like they would be pretty inhibited by how close they are to the body and the kind of high shoulders. You can see that his arms move around. They're very well articulated. He's got a swivel in his bicep as well as a pivoting elbow. Of course, his hands not only swivel, but the fingers open and close, and I love that. I wish more Transformers toys did that, because I kind of would prefer them to not always be clench fist. maybe that's just me as an adult collector and looking at them as more than just toys that beat up on each other. I like being able to put my figures in a more relaxed pose that isn't just standing at attention and ready to hold a gun or punch a dude. So that's really nice, and I understand that that's really only there to be able to hold the Matrix, but the nice thing is that it can do more. Speaking of the Matrix, you may be wondering, I'm going to answer the question right now. Oh, he took a tumble. There. That's not the question that I was going to answer. So we have the Matrix that comes with Hot Rod here. I also have the Matrix that comes with Galvatron on this chain. And this Matrix is a slight retool of the Matrix that came with Optimus Prime. They made it so that it could peg in there. So the question is, will this Matrix peg in to the Galvatron chain? And the answer is nerp, nerp, nerp. This is probably the exact same Matrix mold that they used for Optimus Prime without the Galvatron retooling, which I mean they look functionally identical. This one is molded with translucent plastic, so you can actually see a little bit of light through there, whereas this one is opaque. But other than that, they really do look pretty close to the same. And I don't know why it's important to take the Hot Rod Matrix and put it on the Galvatron chain, but I want to do it, and I'm probably gonna make it do that. I mean, I know me. I'm probably going to just add a little bit of glue inside there that allows it to friction fit onto that peg, and then problem solved. But currently, no, it does not fit on the peg. It is way too loosey-goosey. It doesn't even try. Not even close. So, that being answered, the figure is I love that the knee joint has actually two joints, which gives his leg excellent articulation. He's got a swivel here high in the thigh, which again gives him a lot of range of motion, and then you have the ankle joint there. So there's a lot that this figure can do in terms of dynamic poses. And of course, he can hold guns. We can put the guns in his hands. And so if for some reason maybe his arm blasters make him tired because they're like tapping off of his internal energy, whereas the guns he can just fire and it doesn't cost him anything. So that would be a reason to have the guns. But you can see that you can get him into all sorts of really, really neat dynamic poses, and he can be heroic and all cool and everything. That way he can fulfill his destiny to be the next and most depressing Autobot leader in the history of Autobot leaders. Does anybody remember season 3? Because Rodimus Prime was a downer. Like, he was always like, I'm never gonna live up to Optimus Prime. They introduced this character that's got flames on his chest, and he's supposed to be young, and he's supposed to be hip, and then he turns out to be mopey. Like, who decided that would... I mean... you know what? If I had to follow Optimus Prime, okay, I would probably be filled with self-doubt also. But the point is that from an entertainment standpoint for a kids show, that does not make for a fun character. So just saying, nonetheless, he looks awesome. and his robot mode is lots and lots of fun, and he really does just kind of capture the essence of this character. But we do have to transform him. And you know, he's a little bit involved. He's got a lot going on. They packed so many little fidgety bits in him that he does have a lot going on. But we're gonna do it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the back away right here, and then I'm gonna spin it around, and I'm just gonna leave it out for right now. And then I can open up the back. And we can, now when I practiced transforming him before, I had the tools out. I didn't have the fists out, but I think that I can just leave the fists out. I think that it's going to work. We're going to find out. So we've got the body here, and you see how it comes out on this piece, which knowing that translucent plastics tend to be a little bit brittle, I would be careful with this. It's secure enough. I haven't had any problems, but I'm just advising caution. So you've already got, so you've got the pivot point here where you open this, and then you've got the pivot point here where you open this. And then let me move the arms out of the way so you can see it. You've got another pivot point here. It's like open, open, open. We've got opening doorception here. And so we're going to take this whole piece and we're going to swivel it around 180 degrees, just like that. And then we're going to take the arms and we're going to, now see, there's these little tiny tabs right there, and they're going to peg into these little tiny holes on the wrists, and that's going to lock the arms into the proper position. And then we're going to take these pieces out from inside the body here, after, you know, the part where we open door number 3, and then they're going to swing over, and there's some little tiny slots that fit the tabs that are on these things, and I can't even show them to you because they're tiny, but understand that these little things are going to tab in on the shoulders there. And now we can close that, but I'm not even going to snap it because I'm suspecting that I'm going to end up having to like disengage the arms at some point. We'll see. We're also going to take the head and we're just going to flip it around this way. And here's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to rotate the head 180 degrees. And I'll show you why in just a moment. So then I'm going to close this down here. And you see how we kind of have the front end of the car pretty much done. Now, this is what I suspected before when I talked about maybe having to undo the arms a little bit. The arms are a little bit in the way, so I'm just going to take them out of those, unpeg those little tabs, and just bend the arms out of the way because this next bit gets a little bit janky. So the legs, you have to pull the legs out to the sides. He does the splits like this. And then the legs have these doors. The lower legs have these doors. And these panels swing out like this. And then you take this bit, and this is going to open, and it's going to snap. Watch this. See how that snaps? And then that holds that into place. And then while it's open, we're going to fold the foot into place. And then we're going to swing the whole thing around like this. And you know what? While we've got it all like this, let's go ahead and give the waist a 180 degree turn because that is important. And so now the shin is going to be on what's going to be the underside of the car. And then we can close this door around the leg. And in order to make it work, you have to have them doing the splits. So let's go ahead and watch that again. We're going to open the door on the leg right like that. We're going to open this little panel here that has the wheel and the back parts of the pipes. We're going to snap that into an open position. Then we're going to take the foot, and we're just going to fold it flat like that so that the inside goes inside the shin there. And then we're going to bend the whole thing around the leg. And notice that I'm leaving this as extended as it will go. And then I'm going to fold that around there. And then this is going to close around the leg. And now these can go together like this. And at this point, I can take that back panel and I can fold it down. And it's got some tabs on it, and you're going to find the tabs in between and just peg the legs into the slots. There's the little tabs in the slots, and I wish that I could show them to you. I'm going to try and get the camera on them. Maybe you can see them in there, but if maybe you can see those tabs, those are going to go together, and they're going to align these legs. Maybe. There we go. And there we go. See, they're just like that. And now I can take these arms and this front end and I can tab them in here. And I can tab them in on that side. Oh, and here's something else that's very important that maybe I should have done first. Okay, so I'm going to undo what I just did. Sorry about that. So we're going to rotate these panels that have the pipes on them, and then we're going to close this panel over the fist, just like that. I'm going to show you that again. We're going to rotate the pipes with, and see, it's got this little hinged panel, so this is going to go up over the fist, and then it's going to close over top of the fist, and now we're going to bring that down around the side, and bring this one down around the side. And now we can get all the little tabs. So like that tab goes in there, and this tab goes in there. And then we're going to mesh up the pipes and get them to snap together. And we'll do the same on this side. Get everything to line up. And then just kind of do a little bit of squeezy to get all of the little joints nice and tight. And there you have the vehicle mode, and you know, he's a race car. He's a race car. He's like all fire and pipes and stuff. And then you can also take these little blastsplosion pieces and you can put one of those there, and you can take another little blastsplosion piece and you can put it there. So, you know, now he's got flames coming out of the back of him, which looks really cool. And now the instructions have you doing this with the guns. See, there's these little slots in the engine here, and they've got these little wing things on the guns, which is something that dates back to the Gen 1 guns. It's actually very nice that they incorporated that, even though these guns are different molds from each other. They are not identical guns. And so you put the wing things in there on the hood, and then you can take the buzzsaw thing, and you can do that. If you wanted to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't think that that looks good at all. But you can do it. It's a car that has a machine shop on the hood. A lethal machine shop. I mean, OSHA would never pass that. I'm just telling you from my experience as a shop guy. You know, that would never pass the standards. Now, fortunately, that's not the only thing that you can do with those. So they also have a couple slots right here, just like that. And you know, I actually don't mind so much having the guns on the hood there. That's a little bit less ridiculous. But if you're gonna have the guns on the car, then we can put them on the top. That's right, Dudley. Yeah, Dudley agrees. He enthusiastically agrees. So we can also put these on the roof here, and then if we wanted to, we can even spin this around so that we don't have, you know, so that it's not quite so everything's leaning forward-ish And so you can put your extra bit storage stuff there. There's no place to put the matrix. There's nowhere. I don't think that I can fit it in here. Yeah, it doesn't go. It doesn't go in there. And so there's nowhere to put the Matrix in him. And I guess that is why the Matrix had to upgrade Hot Rod into Rodimus Prime, because Hot Rod didn't have like a cavity in his chest to hold the Matrix. So, you know, the Matrix is like, hey, I got you covered. Here, you know, reformat and, you know, say goodbye to cool race car and hello to space camper. So, you know, I mean, and admittedly, Rodimus Prime's vehicle mode may not have been as cool as Hot Rod's mode, but I'll tell you what, Lone Star and Barf, they would have gladly taken that over the Space Winnebago. I mean, then they wouldn't have needed Liquid Schwartz or anything. So that's really cool. Let's go ahead and put him on the other camera so that you can see what the vehicle mode has to offer clearly. So here he is in his vehicle mode with the extra guns and the buzzsaw blade, even though technically the buzzsaw was supposed to go inside his hand, but you know, it's a toy, so it doesn't. That's fine. I actually appreciate that they thought out weapon storage for the extra bits, even if it does break the illusion of it being stored inside his arm. You can see that the car mode itself is pretty faithful to the original. It's got the general shape. The colors are really nice, and he looks good. Now I'm going to take off the extra stuff here just so that you can see him unencumbered by extra schmutz, and there he is. And you know, it's always been a very sleek looking car mode. It's neat. And when I was a kid, this is what I wanted vehicles to look like in the future. And unfortunately, we got to 2005 and they did not look like this. Nothing in 2005 looked as cool as this does. The 2000s, in an automotive sense, were really disappointing. So there you go. That's his vehicle mode, and he does look good. And so you remember me talking about turning the head around. Thank you, Dudley. Yes, Dudley says that he remembers. So it's funny, you can't see it right now, but his head is right underneath this windshield. And if you don't spin the head around, his face is actually very clearly visible through this translucent plastic. So since I don't really need to see Rodimus kind of looking straight up through his windshield, I know I called him Rodimus, he's Hot Rod, but either one, I don't need to see his face going up through the windshield, then I just spun his head around and that solves the problem, because now I don't see nothing. There ain't nothing there. So that's actually pretty cool. So there we go. That is my review of Rodimus. They did a lot with this guy. Yeah, they sure did. And Dudley wants to let you know what he thinks. Oh, what a good kitty. There's Dudders. Yeah, say hello to everybody. What, you don't want to talk now? You were just talking so much. He was talking so much, you heard him. He was like, row, row, which means I want to tell people about Hot Rod. Isn't that what that means? I thought that's what it means. Anyway, I guess, is it okay if I continue? Because I think I know your opinion. He's like, yeah, okay. So here you go. There you go, little guy. So, Dudley and I, thank you. So, Dudley and I both give this toy a recommend. And, you know, I feel like a broken record because at this point I've done like 5 of these Studio Series videos, and every one, I recommend this. If you like the Gen 1 line, then you want this. But the truth is, if you're a fan of the Gen 1 line and you're a fan of the 1986 Transformers the movie, then you do want this. That's the problem. You want this. You want Blur. You want Cup. You might not want Wheelie. I don't know. Do they have a Studio 80? Well, they did. Yeah, Wheelie is part of Grimlock, so maybe you want that too. But the point being that yeah, and they put so many loving little details and nods that just add to the authenticity. I have to say, they've done an excellent job. They really have. That, you know, I wish I could ding them on a lot of stuff, but they really did do an excellent job with Hot Rod here. He's not a big figure, he's not a heavy figure, but he's a very well done figure with a lot of features crammed into him in a relatively small format. So yeah, like I said, I strongly recommended. He's awesome. So, if you like this review, or you like this kind of review, then please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so that you know when we're doing more of these Short Circuits videos. Also, be aware that every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern United States time, we do a live stream where we pick a subject and we just go for several hours talking about that subject, showing toys, and we have a live chat running, and if you join the live chat, then we will toast you, and everybody will be glad to see you, and it's lots of fun. So please feel free to join us. And other than that, this is Clay Carlino telling you, yes, you, to keep it Retrobot. Retrobot. Retrobots have buzzsaw hands. At least this one does. Buzzsaw hands. Zzz.